So Wade is a three-time all-natural bodybuilding champion. He's an advisor to the American Anti-Cancer Institute and the founder of the Prosperity and Health Alliance. He's an Enagic master trainer as well. We'll talk about that a bit later. He's an author, and he does, I just found out, 200 interviews a year. That's crazy, Wade. Welcome.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me, Michelle.
We both love and endorse this electrolyzed reduced water
Yes.
by Enagic.
Yes.
When did you actually first find out about it? Was it during all these preparations as well for all your different competitions? And why? Why that? Why did you decide on that?
So great question. So in 2007, I was running a holistic health clinic in Vancouver, Canada. And I was approached by some individuals who were raving about this alkaline water, and they kept bugging me about it. And you have to realize, as a high-level athlete and as a nutritional practitioner and someone who owns a store, the time I was running a clinic, I get pitched a lot about a lot of different things. And everybody's got their story. It's the latest, it's the greatest, it, cures everything, all these stories. And I got so tired of these guys' stories, I said, I'm going to go see the presentation, just shut them up. And keep in mind, I was a big advocate of water. I was a guy that drank 6 to 8 liters of water every day just to augment my training. I drank the water. I knew it felt different. It tasted different. There was something different about it. And I went to the presentation. I saw some flaws in the presentation, which I promptly told them. And this is the early stages of the Enagic story in North America. But the bottom line is I couldn't deny the power of the water and how I felt. And so when I went to the gym, I noticed I could train a little bit longer, a little harder. So I decided I would do an experiment of change all the water in my body. So at the time, I'm about 200 pounds. And so if you work that out, that's about it's about 150 pounds, 160 pounds of water.
That's right.
So I said, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drink as much of this water as possible. And if it's better and it is absorbable and more utilizable by the cells, then I should change all the water in my body. And like I would change the oil in my car. All right. So let's do that. So I did, and the transformation was great. I lost a whole bunch of body fat. I was able to train at a level that I couldn't do. What I did also is I compressed 3 months of training into 3 weeks. In other words, so I was training 5 times a day, multiple workouts, multiple rebounding sessions. I was doing all these crazy things because I said, if it's as good as it is, I came back, made a return to competition. So I was not competing for 3.5 years. I drank the water, said, I think I'm going to make a comeback and see and put this to the test. So I compressed 3 months of training. Now I'd been training, but not at a professional, not at a national level. And it turned out I ended up winning the shows and went on to the world championships, did better, didn't have the fail out and stuff. And so the water was the piece, the extra element of the philosophy that I had adapted that turbocharged everything else. And so I was like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't know anything about the compensation program. I wasn't interested in the business side of it. In fact, I had issues with the business of it, but I just kept telling people, look, I see the results. We had an electro-interstitial water scan. People would come in chronically dehydrated. It would take us weeks and weeks and weeks to get them hydrated properly, unless we put them on the Enagic Kangen water, and we put them on there, and bang, guess what? They got hydrated way faster. I could see this on the result. It was like way better. I was like, okay, you know what? And I went to the world championships, took some time off. I came back. I had all this money in my post office box. I had no idea how that happened. And that was from people who told people who like, and then I said, well, maybe I need to pay attention to the business side of it. But I said, and someone had caught wind that I went to the world championships and had written in me in a publication. Now they had the story wrong. They had my quote wrong. Some people thought I was a senior citizen. I mean, it was crazy. And and they used my picture and my name, and they had these fake quotes for me, and it was terrible, right? So I found out who the person was that had the book. I called them up and I said, hey, look, we've got a problem. You used my name, my image incorrectly. You've made a statement that's incorrect. I love your marketing. It's beautiful marketing, but this is wrong. So let's get that corrected. And in lieu of me suing you for using this and taking advantage of it, what I'm going to invite you to do is let's write a book so when I can explain the athletic performance benefits of this water from my perspective as a high performance athlete and as an exercise physiologist and a nutritionist.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know there was a book.
Yes. So I wrote a book, what every athlete needs to know about restructured ionized
You got it
water.
there. Could you lift it up if you got it?
I don't have it right here on my hand, but
if you could send me a photo, we could attach it here so that everyone.
I'll do that. So long story short, the book became a sensation, and I predicted that this water would be the de facto hydration choice of athletes at all levels around the world within the next 10 years. Now, the good news was, so that led me on, suddenly I was a celebrity. Suddenly I was giving lectures to hundreds of thousands, sometimes thousands of people. And we were selling these books like crazy. And everybody was buying these books. And the next thing I was getting calls from professional sports teams and coaches from these institutions and things like that. It was pretty awesome. And I was like, wow. And at one of the events, I met Dr. Horst Filzer.
Yes.
Just down the road. And we just were standing in line together, and we struck up. I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was. And most people would never think that we would hang out, and he became a dear friend. Like instant. It was like we just had this camaraderie. And I told him my experiences, which he was fascinated. He had his own experiences. And 10 years later, he was able to prove in human studies that everything that I had experienced in that training window, the improved performance, the improved endurance, the faster recovery, right? The better levels of hydration at a cellular level, all of those things that I felt and knew intuitively and are recognizable in athletic performance was then proven in a scientific human trial lab by Dr. Filzer. 10 years later, we put him on our video and had him on. And I was so happy when he was able to prove it. Obviously, I don't do double-blind studies. I hire people to do double-blind studies. I didn't hire him, but for my other company. And bottom line is, it turned out great. And now there's all sorts of famous athletes who swear by it, and famous people and regular people. And again, it comes down to the same principles of the awesome formula. You need to get proper hydration. And the reality is that, yes, we are very lucky in the industrialized democracies of the world to experience water that comes into our home. But the institutions who select that water and create the reservoirs and the filtration systems and the chemicalization systems have to add a lot of chemicals to the water. And then that water has to go down these old pipes. Sometimes these pipes are 50, 60, 70, 100 years old. And there's all sorts of crap in them. So the water that gets to your house is not even at the standard that they're testing at the municipality. That water is compromised. And you've got to improve that water with some sort of filtration and device. And I'm going to end the water debate for a lot of people, because everyone's like, no, my water's better. I'm doing reverse osmosis. I'm doing far infrared water. I'm doing like crystal vortex water. I'm doing sodium water. I've tested 160 plus water systems. I don't even know. I stopped counting at 160. So it's probably over 200. I don't even know what it is. But here's the thing. There's a guy by the name of Dr. Pollack. He wrote a book called Cells, Gels, and the Engines of Life. And he's a water expert. And he was actually able to prove that water has 4 stages. A solid, a liquid, a gas, which we know. That's what makes water unique. It exists in all 3 of those states naturally on Earth, which is unique. But it's also a 4th state. It has a crystal state. And that crystal state is the reason you can remember your keys and where your address is and what your name is in the morning. So It has 440,000 information panels of storage. This is also echoed in the video called The Water, the Great Mystery, which is the top water researchers in the world. So everybody's talking about why their water's better. Well, what I would say this is water is very much like a DVD. And you can program on that DVD a horror movie. You can put a sports documentary. You could put a drama. You could put a comedy. You could put a government propaganda program. You can do whatever you want. It's a storage device. So when you program the water, whether you're programming it with chemicals that they have to put into it, that's a program that kills things. You need to reprogram that water when it comes in your house to give you life, to get energy, to give you vitality. And in my range of investigations, I have not found a device that is better than that universally to take water and turn it into something that gives you energy, that reduces the damages of antioxidants, and that hydrates your cells. It's really, really, really good at that. That doesn't mean that you have to be against anybody else's. You just say, I like comedies, or I like scientific documents. That's what Enagic is. So if you want to have more energy, you want to be better hydrated, and you want to have the what I call the simplest, fastest, most effective way to combat the effects of aging due to oxidative damage, this water is it. It's better than anything. You can't take enough vitamins to equal it. You can't hydrate as fast on this. You can't do any of that stuff. So that ends it.